Welcome to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors Podcast.
This pig came battling.
Just ended up puking last night. It sucked.
Whoa! Ah! We gut it, we wrap it in tinfoil, throw it over the fire.
All right, everyone. It's Cody Johnson here with the Thin Blue Line Outdoors Podcast. This is podcast 85. This is our second camp about bear camp. As you guys can see, we are not in bear camp now. I'm here with my brother Colton. Colton and I have actually have killed the same number of bears. We both I'm one trip ahead of him right now, but I didn't kill in Quebec back in the day. We were real young when we did that hunt. But anyway, we returned from bear camp. It's been a couple weeks now. I got my bear skinned and processed, all that. I know Colton's still gonna be working on his bear in the freezer. But we're super fortunate. We had a good time on the hunt. Obviously, if you guys have been paying attention to the stories or anything like that, everybody killed out. We are super excited. And I'm going to have Colton kind of talk about his experience a little bit. So, number one, I guess, Colton, what were you looking forward to on this trip other than just obviously bear camp? But I know, I obviously know what you had a goal in mind. But what was your goals going into this bear hunt and kind of go from there?
Well, yeah, so this would be my first time that would have been only taking my bow. Last time I took my bow, but then gave it up and then took a gun instead. So this time I was like only taking a bow, and it's either kill one with a bow or don't kill one at all. And then this was my last. I have a new bow that was purchased was pretty much ready to go. So I was like, I'll take the old bow. The goal was pretty much to kill one more animal with it and then retire it. Same bow I've had since sophomore year of high school. So just wanted to use it one more time, have a successful hunt with it, and then move on to the next chapter.
I don't know about you. I was kind of excited that it was a bow only camp while we were there.
I was too, but it's funny. Everybody I've talked to since being back, they're like, "Oh, would you kill with a bow?" Like, "Oh, well, you had a gun on you, right?" Like, "No." "Oh, you didn't have a pistol?" "No, you can't. It's illegal." "Did somebody have a gun?" "Nope, nobody had a gun." Like, what the hell are you gonna do if something goes wrong? Well, we'll figure it out. But it was exciting that everybody used the bow this time.
Yep, we had essentially in camp. I had the recurve for about halfway through my hunt, and then I switched to the compound. Colton and Austin had their compounds, and then Dad had his crossbow. So it was a bow only camp. I definitely enjoyed that. I was looking forward to it, but I didn't know how it would be. But it was nice, just enjoyable. But anyway, we hit there, and kind of one thing that Austin and I talked about in the other podcast 84 is, the baits were hitting right before we got there. And we had a storm roll in the day before, and I know it shut the baits down, just completely shut the baits down. I'll speak for myself. I know I was getting a little nervous there for a while. What were you feeling, I guess, those first couple of days?
Well, look, one of the only things I didn't want to have happen was, as compared to last year, I was the last one of two. And I don't like being the last one because it's stressful. And then, of course, these guys don't help. They're like, "Oh, no pressure. You're the last one," which doesn't help my mentality. But that was what I didn't want to have happen. And of course, when you two killed, I was like, "Oh, I'm not." It's like, I'm not seeing bears. I'm not going to kill a bear. I got negative about it. I get pissed off, honestly, because they're there. They're there. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I tried to stay. I tried to hunt the same place the entire time, and I was going to ride and diet. And I'm like, well, everybody's killing out. I got to switch now.
Yep. And
I think I did, but I was stressing. I didn't think I was going to see a bear. Nothing. So.
Yep. Yeah. I know, and I was laughing during it. I'm sure you weren't, and maybe laughing now, but it was also like you picked everybody's spot the first day, other than Dad's.
Yeah,
you picked your sleeping arrangements. So we kind of Colton had an opinion on stuff, and we didn't really have anything to argue. We're like, "Yeah, we'll go with your opinion." Like, no issue there, and it was working out for everybody but him.
Yeah, it was. It 100% was, but I mean, what can you do? I honestly, it's kind of been my luck though. Every time I go bear hunting, I don't see a lot of bears. I don't see a lot of bears hunting. I see a lot of bears driving around, but I don't see a lot while in the stand. But yeah, 4 for 4, I guess. So whatever we're doing is working.
Yeah, exactly. Can't really complain. Like you go home, end up going home with a bear every time so far. So
yeah.
But yeah, so essentially, a little spoiler alert if you don't know everything. Austin killed on day 3. We ended up moving his spot. We put Austin on one of the bigger bears that was hitting him before we got there, and that bait had just completely shut down. I don't know if it ever did get hit again, to be honest with you. Even after we left, but we had this smaller bear that kept coming in. It was a great first bear. Austin, I know, asked us like, "Hey, I know it's smaller. What do you guys think?" We're like, we don't know how the baits are going to go. He's got a good coat on him. Like, I think you'd be dumb not to. Go in there. And luckily, Austin went in there and smoked him within a few hours of hunting. So that was nice. 2 days go by. I had moved after hunting the same spot for 2 nights because that bait was kind of shutting down. I had one bear hit it at night. And I went to the spot where I killed Chubby Cheeks, a bear that we had named the year prior. And I ended up getting a kill on hunt 5. Yeah, it was hunt 5. I'll talk about that in different podcasts. But that was a fun hunt. But then it came down to, as Colton said, Austin had a bear. I had a bear. Colton had a bear, or had not even seen a bear other than on the road.
No.
Yeah. And not only was kind of talk about, not only was Colton hunting with a bow for the, sticking with it only, but you're also hunting. Is that the most time you've had during like a week's time in the saddle?
No. This last year, I would say I surpassed it.
Well, I just know the sits are really long. That's why.
There was a point in time when I was like trying to fill some of my bow tags this last year. My doe tags, I was like doing some long sits, morning and night. But yeah, no, I tried to hunt that first site that was I wanted to kill one there as a redemption from last year. So I hit one last year. So I couldn't shoot my bow due to a shoulder injury. So I had my shotgun. I took it every single day. Then one day I didn't take it. Took Dad's crossbow. Well, that scope, the bear shots are close. It was 8 yards away, and I was just seeing all black. And I kept like looking away, trying to scope it out, and then I front shouldered it, and the broad. I hit it so hard on the front shoulder that the broadhead bent. So, anyways, I wanted to kill one there as a redemption. Didn't see anything, and nor did he get hit for 4 days. I think. I don't think he got hit the whole time we were up there. No,
you just had your friendly neighborhood porcupine kept coming in.
Yeah, I had a porcupine for every day of the first 3 days. I was there, which was it was fun. It was entertaining. That and a pine marten every single day. But yeah, last year I killed that nice sow with a kind of a chocolate coat, and then I thought where I was going was going to be the sow with a yearling. But then this other one came in, so could avoid a little bit of a Bambi situation this year, which was nice. A little bit better on my conscience.
Yeah. So as again, we kind of before we get to your bear kill, one thing I've discovered, and when we go up with Austin and Kyle, they're using their Lone Wolf or Novik stands, and they can get in pretty easily. But some of these trees, guys, in bear country, seems like are very small. There's not very big trees, so it's actually kind of hard to find a tree good for like a ladder stand or something like that. In the areas that we've been hunting. Now, like I said, Austin and Kyle's Lone Wolf and Noviks have worked pretty well, but for us in these tree saddles, man, we can get into almost any and every tree. And these bears, what I've noticed, at least on my 2 bears that I've had now out of a saddle, I'm standing behind the tree. And even though the tree obviously only covers like maybe my head, nothing else, they don't seem to react.
No.
Stay quiet.
Honestly, I think it's the same thing as like a deer. I tell people I've never had something like look for me because it smells me, hears me, or whatever. like look for me, look up the tree, and then look away. And the bear, I mean, she glanced at me one time, did a little glance, didn't see anything, and then boom, didn't look at me again.
Mhm.
So like I mean, they could smell us. Like they smell us before they even get within sight. But in the fact that like they're looking for us, they don't see us and they don't get freaked out. Whereas like a lot of the ladder stands and climbers, especially, like you stick out like a sore thumb in those trees up there. So I mean, I'm a firm believer that the saddle is the way to go in almost all situations that we hunt in, including deer hunting back home or back here. Very rarely do I think like, oh, a hang-on would be a better option here. So, like, sure, I guess in some hardwood forest that you could use a climber or something like that. But even then, like, you don't have to get 22 foot in the tree to be out of sight and out of mind. Like I was my feet were about 10 foot in the air for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to be that high.
Yep. No, I agree with Colton on that. And we all are using different saddle brands too. It's not like we're affiliated with any saddle companies or anything. No, I started off with Tether. That's what Colton started off with too. I let him borrow one of my old ones. I'm now using a Cruiser, and Colton's using Latitude. And I've played around with some Colton's Latitude stuff. I like it too. Honestly, I think to be honest with you, if you stick with any of the three, I think you're good to go. I went after the day after Colton, and we'll get to his bear here soon, guys. But the day after Colton shot his bear, I went and took down his stuff for him, just like any other saddle thing. It's easy to do, super easy. Climbed right up, no problem. I know setting it up. I think I borrowed your sticks once last year just to try.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And they were nice. I really like them too. But I definitely think if you're looking for bear hunting, getting into bear hunting, I think saddle's a way to go.
I would agree.
To go off your comment, the only time I can see where a Novix or Lone Wolf might be a little better, it is self-filming if you have a camera arm. I've got my system figured out when it comes to saddle hunting, but it is nice. Like to me, it is easier to self-film out of a conventional tree stand, just because where I put my camera arm, I'm kind of putting it in my own way to shoot on my offside when it comes to, and that's with an actual tree arm. If you're just using a GoPro stick, kind of like what I gave Colton, it's not too bad then. But the actual
but you gotta, like, I was able to put it high enough to where when I reach over, it's kind of like out of my way, because I had to play with that around that too the first time to make sure that, like, if I went over to shoot, that it's like, oh, where do I put this at? So I just have to put it high enough to where it's not a problem.
Yep. Hope I agree with Colton. But anyway, let's get to this bear. Kind of set us up, Colton. What happened?
Well, so like I said, we had a sow with a yearling showing up consistently on this one road. She had been there 2 different days at 2 different sites for multiple hours. And then I'd hunted this one site, didn't see anything, and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go back. But where Austin killed his, that sow and yearling were there. So I thought, well, do I switch? Do I not? I was like, I'm just going to stay. I don't want to get into bouncing around. I knew you start bouncing around, you're going to have, shit's going to go wrong. So I decided I'm going to hunt there again. I get into the stand, I don't know, what, 5 o'clock. I was there a little early. I was about 4:30 this time. I was getting a little antsy, honestly. So I got out there, and then for the first 45 minutes to an hour, to my left, I get up in the tree, and I kept hearing this, like, somewhere down there, probably 50, 60 yards, it kind of dips down this ravine. There's water down there. And something kept, like, making this real deep bellowing noise. And it just kept doing it. And then there was splashing going on. Like, there was, like, 1 or 2 things down there. It just kept going on and on and on. And, like, I'll be honest, it, like, freaked me out the first time, because it's, like, dead silent in the woods, no wind. And then, boom, it, like, lights up the woods. I'm like, holy shit. So it just kept going on and on and on. And it would stop, go on and on and on. I'm thinking, like, okay, this is either 1 of 2 things. It's either a moose down there. And I've heard moose kind of make that noise before, but, like, it sounded a little off, or it was a bear with a, and there's some bear altercation going on of some kind. I still don't know which one it was, but we saw so many moose up there. Like, it could have been a moose. I have no idea.
Yep.
But yeah, I just kept going on and on for almost an hour, I would say.
Mhm.
It would cut off, go back, and then it stopped. And then I kind of just dead silent in the woods. I just kind of turned to the left, and like 40 yards away, I just see it the legs of a bear coming. I was like, oh shoot. I'm like, okay, here we go. And I was like looking to make sure, like, okay, is this one I want to shoot or not? And it gets about 30 yards away, and I could tell from its back. I'm like, okay, it's an adult bear. And I thought it was a smaller boar at the time. Because its head was like, I've looked at its head since. It's got a wider head than the one I killed last year, but I think the one I killed last year looks older than the one I killed.
Yeah, but this one's definitely bigger, I would say.
Yeah, well, the thing, like, look at the photos, I think the one I killed is a wider head than yours, but yours weighed more. Yours had a much fatter butt than mine did. So yeah, she started walking up. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna shoot her. She's an adult. Or I'm gonna attempt to shoot this animal. And the tree's, really far shot, about 12 yards away. And she walks up.
Yeah,
and I made sure to.
Spoiler: Colton had the farthest shot, I think, of the hunt. So.
12 yards. Yeah. And she just at that point she's coming in, and I threw some bait on the ground on my side just because the bucket was on the opposite side. And that's just because of the tree and like where I thought the bears would be coming from. And she came right where I thought she'd be coming from. So she came that direction. She got right up to the bait, and like as she's coming up, I hit record. And she got there, and she's 12 yards away, and I can't shoot her because there's this dumb tree in front of me with like a 4-inch to 6-inch branch. That's coming out, a broken branch, and just covering her up about midway of where she's at. And when I got in my tree, I had no idea that was going to be a problem. So I'm sitting there just like, well, I can't shoot this. My heart was going a million miles an hour. And she walked up, and thankfully that branch probably helped me because she stood there, and I have 4 minutes of her just sitting there feeding, eating. I'm like, all I needed her to do is take one step forward. And she kind of does this weird thing, and there's a branch in front of her. She grabs it and breaks it. I was like, oh, here we go. And she takes her right front foot, just step forward. I'm like, oh, there it is. And shot. And, just like shooting anything else, like, looked good, felt good. But like, you adrenaline dump when you shoot. Shot. I'm like, okay, I think it sounded good, looked good. And she just turned and ran, went about 5 yards the opposite direction, kind of where she came. She runs that direction, kind of like leans up on a tree with her front paws, and kind of like looks around for a second, and then kind of makes this there's this little wheeze that happens. She tries to climb it one time, and then she just falls back and dies. And then I'm just like, oh wow. So I shot her, and I would say within 30 seconds she was after she did her moans and died. It was all right in front of me. So I was like, oh well, there's no suspense on tracking her. It's like, oh, this is easy. And it was like, what, I don't know, 6:30, I think, when it happened. So I was like, oh, this will be nice. I get home, go get Cody and Austin, make this pretty fast. I would say this is probably the second best recovery compared to Ray's. Ray's last year is the best.
Yes, Ray's bear actually ran to the road and died.
Right.
Colton's, you can actually, and you guys will see this when we do the video. So when Colton's high enough in the tree, when he turns to do his closing interview, you can actually see the road behind Colton. So it was pretty, and the woods you're hunting at too is actually pretty easy walking. And you were hunting in a very pretty spot. You definitely tell it's a place they had logged, years and years ago and replanted. And it was a great shot. What kind of funny, as Colton said, he went there to go get Austin and I. Austin and I actually watched a video today. Austin and I were actually doing a closing interview on my bear from the day before. And you could hear I'm talking, and all of a sudden you hear Austin and I kind of both perk up. And we're listening, and I'm like, I think that's Colton coming. And Austin's like, yeah, I think so. I'm like, get that camera on him. And actually, Colton's rolling in. I need help tracking the bear, I don't know if I got it, blah, 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 blah. He pulled a fast one on us. So, And I don't. So we go to help him, and I don't make it too far in the woods, and I see the bear, and I turn to him and Colton's grinning, grinning ear to ear. I don't think Austin realized we had a dead bear until he walked right up on it.
I don't think he did either. I don't think he knew.
Yeah. He's like, "What? There's a bear." I'm like, yes, that's what I was just smiling about and said something to Colton about. Like, so yeah, and it was super easy.
Well, it's more fun to think that, like I shot the bear, died 5 yards away. I just need you to help me carry it out.
Yep. No, we made it fun. Everybody's high five and happy and stuff. And as Colton said, it was a super easy track job. And it was kind of cool when Colton got the bear. We were able to kind of dissect it and see exactly the trauma that was caused. And number one, you made a great shot, obviously, right through the lungs. I mean, both lungs. And then I guess you can talk about this. It seemed like you were a little nervous. Not of the brand of broadhead you're shooting, but of you shooting a fixed blade and everybody was starting to shoot expandable.
A little bit. Yeah, I thought I was on the same page with everybody. I thought everybody was shooting the fixed blades. Come to find out, nobody else was besides me. So so I was like, oh shit. So I made the wrong choice. But if you make a good shot, I guess it really doesn't matter. But well, I would shoot those again, those same exact ones. If I was still going to be shooting this bow, with the new bow, going to be faster speed, longer distances. So I'm going to shoot. Yeah, overall, you guys probably have talked about it some already. We'll talk about it more, but like the broadheads were great. Both of them. Both the fixed and the expandables were phenomenal.
So obviously we're shooting the wreck broadheads. Austin and I both killed even Dad. And Colton and I will talk about that here in a second. We end up killing our bears with the XPs, but Colton is shooting the FX4. And talking to Alex from Rec, he was actually not a real fixed blade believer until he started shooting the FX4s, and he says he loves them. And I've seen one animal now with them, and it was perfect. And we didn't need to blood show that bear, but there was blood there. Like if we had to, we could. And you can see we took a great picture where Colton's holding both the lungs in his hands, and it's perfect broadhead. Hole through both of them. It was great, and obviously the bear died within 30 seconds, so you can't, you can't do any better.
I can't complain at all. And honestly, I think those broadheads I'm going to keep them, and that's what Paige will shoot this next year. So they're great. I think. I can't say anything bad about them at all.
Yep, I can good shape.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I could clean them up and then sharpen them just barely, a couple little nicks. And I don't think that's even from the bear. I think that's from it going into a log after exited the bear. It was in a log. So I assume that's where the nicks happen. And it looks dang near perfect.
Yeah. And one thing, Cole, I want to have you dive into this a little bit. So when it comes to archery, we're obviously here at the Thin Blue Outdoors, we want to get more first responders into the woods. It's kind of our main goal. So, listen, I'm just as bad about it. I'm a gear junkie. I know Colton's a gear junkie. A lot of my team is gear junkies. But, Colton was using a ready to hunt bear charge. That was what year you think that you got that in, Colton?
I've had it since my sophomore year of high school. So
it's 2012 when I graduated.
Yeah, pretty dang close.
Yeah. So that bow is over 10 years old. Colton's spending money going to Canada to kill bear, and we have the proof that it does. You don't need to go buy a brand new bow to go do these things. You can buy a bow. Number one, you could buy a brand new ready to hunt bow already decked out. I think for $500 or less, and that's for a brand new one. If you want to go use a 10-year-old bow, a 5-year-old bow, you could probably get everything you need for a couple $100. So now, mind you, I get it. I'm shooting a nice Hoyt Defiant that I spent a lot of money on. Colton's got a brand new Matthews lift at home. Listen, we like to spend money on our equipment. I'm not saying it's not nice. There is, when you shoot them side by side, there's some big differences. But all I'm telling is people, you don't have to have the cream of the crop gear. You can do it without. So I just want people to know that. And, and so even with our camouflage, everybody up there, had the nice First Light stuff. Colton had Nomad, which is good stuff as well. Austin was just using some stuff like he got a Cabela's or Bass Pro, and it was fine. I think you did have a little bit. I think actually the most thing he had that was worn down was the Sitka bibs that he had, but they were actually we had to zip tie his bungees together. They were so worn. And then Dad's always using whatever he can buy, like Farm King or whatever. So,
and he's wearing a flannel. He's wearing a flannel half the time.
Yeah. So just like telling people, man, you don't need, even on these big bear hunts, people it's like, I'm spending a lot of money, I better have all the best gear. You don't need that. You can get it done without it. Dad's using a 1990s climber, old aluminum climber is what he was using. So he got Colton and I in our nice saddles, and Austin in his nice lone wolf. But Dad's using a 1990s climber and got the job done. So I know I felt like that night once you got your bear back, especially when Dad came back, and Dad had a close encounter that night. Didn't get it done though. But I feel like everybody's spirits are up, because we knew Dad still had like a week and a half, 2 weeks of hunting left. Yeah. So we're like, you're going to get a bear, just win. And then us three that we're going to be leaving in a couple of days, we're all tagged out and everybody's happy. We all got them with our bows, all easy track jobs. Like everybody's hooping and hollering. I know you were in a lot better mood at camp.
Yeah, dude, I was in bad mood the night before, and it doesn't get better because I was in a bad mood, and then you're in a bad mood, which puts you in a worse mood because you're like, I don't want to piss people off because I'm in a bad fucking mood. So it's just, and the thing is, and I've thought about it a lot. I just had I could go up there if I at least see bears or see wild things. I'm having a good time. I just haven't had the best luck of just having cool bear interactions, unless ones I don't want, things. But yeah, I think it's just a good example. You just gotta stay patient and keep hunting the same stand, and you'll have good luck or better odds.
Yeah, and I should clarify, nobody out of our group switched stands after one night of hunting. I hunted 3 nights. I think either 2 or 3 nights I hunted my spot. Austin hunted. No, I think Austin and I both hunted our spot 2 nights, and then we both made one switch. We ended up killing. And then same thing. Colton hunted his first spot 4 nights, 5 nights,
4 nights.
Yep, and then he moved to his other spot and hunted twice. And so we're not always. That's where I think some people get. When Colton and I have seen it now, we've been up there enough times where they're trying to chase these bears because they were there yesterday, and a lot of times it doesn't work out for them. Sometimes it does. No. And we'll kind of talk about Dad's spots. So Dad was hunting one spot quite a bit, mainly because of past history. And the bears end up, after talking to Dad today, bears did end up coming to that spot, but not while he was hunting it. He just knew it was a good spot. Bears were going to start hitting it, and they just never did while he was hunting it. But Dad, our dad has killed some big bears. He has been very fortunate. He has killed 2 absolute tanks of bear. The one he's gotten one unofficially scored, and it made the Boone Crockett book, and that is his smaller of the 2. He hasn't got a skull measured on the other one. I wish he would. I'm not saying it's not going to break. Yeah, it's not going to break any world records or anything, but it's going to be up there. It's like shooting over a 200-inch whitetail for all you whitetail hunters. And we know we had no past history of this bear, no camera pictures or anything like that. Dad just happened to be in the right spot at the right time. Is what it came down to. And that's I have to have him on the podcast to tell that story. That's a funny story. I need him to tell it. It's a great story regarding old great grandpa Johnson's 20 gauge shotgun. So we'll have him on sometime to talk about that. So, but anyway, one thing that Dad, he's killed a lot of bears. He's been hunting bears since the 90s, but he has not killed a real light brown bear at all. That's on his bucket list, something he wants to do. He had killed a dark chocolate bear back in 2016. 2016 is when he killed that bear. And it was so dark chocolate he didn't even realize it was dark chocolate until he laid his hands on it. So, and it's a pretty bear, but you know, we really wanted a color phase bear, and we had a really nice bear the year before that Colton was going after for a while, and we never just showed up. Nobody ever got a shot, and that bear never showed up this year.
Yeah.
But we had this small yearling bear. It's a legal bear to take. Smaller bear kept coming into this one bait site all hours of the night, all hours of the day, no rhyme or reason. He started getting more and more daylight though, and Dad decided, you know, I think I want to look at him and get a shot at him. Which Colton and I kind of talked. We're like, if that bear comes out in front of him, we think he's going to take it because
well, we had been driving. He and I went for a long drive, and we saw one really big bear, and then we were coming back, and we saw the bear he killed on the road. We crossed this little berm, and it was I don't know, in front of us 20 yards. And when I saw the daylight, I was like, oh, that thing is milk chocolate brown, lighter even. Yeah. And I saw it, and I just turned and looked at him, and he just kind of gave me a little smile. And I personally, would I probably shoot that bear? Probably not. You know, last day, maybe you're hard pressed. It is a pretty bear though, and that's exactly what he wanted to kill. And I think that when it's tanned, it's really going to show it off, because when we saw it after he killed it, and it's kind of dark, whatever, it didn't do it justice. Even shining a light on it when it was out there and the sunlight was hitting it, it's like, oh yeah, that is a pretty bear.
Yep. And again, as Colton and I said, Dad's got his big bears, you know. And he already has it. He already had what he wanted in his mind, and honestly, for that, what he wants to do, a smaller bear is going to be better anyway. And that's what he wanted, and it's going to be really pretty. Essentially, so it's all going to be on the vlog. Actually, I want to back up a little bit. Number one, Colton, I want to say, good job. I think that was your first animal on video that you've done. It yourself.
Was.
Yep. So
it was.
Thank you and congrats. So self-filming is harder than what people think sometimes, and and especially when you're using not your own camera equipment, because you don't know the bugs with it. So
100%.
Colton unfortunately found that out last year, but this year got it done. In a saddle, even like I said, I think it's actually a little harder to self-film out of a saddle. But anyway, my dad had never self-filmed either. He had filmed our brother Caleb the year prior, so he was filming for someone, but he had actually not done self-film at all. So this was his first time trying to self-film, and he pulled it off. Video turned out great, and he's shooting a Raven crossbow, and he was shooting one of the Rex XPs. All their broadheads are crossbow rated, and it's one of those things companies say that sometimes, but how's that actually work? Work like a charm. Work like a charm. I mean, that that arrow bolt broadhead went right through that bear. The video turned out great. I honestly didn't think he was going to find his bolt because it went through that bear so fast and hard. He did find it in the day.
He did.
I can check. So I haven't seen the broadhead yet. I'll have to take a look at it when I see it. But he said it sounds like it's in good shape, which I'm surprised, to be honest with you. I'm sure that's stuck in the dirt pretty well. So we went 4-4 on bears. We had a good time. I know I don't have much to say. My wife just walked in and has Colton's nephew in a sleeper hold right now. So, but anyway, I was super happy with this trip. Honestly, went great. Super pleased with it. I was, number one goal for me is I want to get Austin a bear since he got skunked the year before. As soon as we got that out of the way, I'm like, I was all up from here. And I had 100% faith. I'm like, if we get an opportunity, we'll capitalize on it. And it went great. I'm super pumped with how everything turned out. I know I would recommend everybody, especially for whitetail hunters. Bear hunting is a very easy transition for whitetail hunters. Very, very easy to do. Don't get me wrong. I've been elk hunting twice now. I've done antelope hunting, all that good stuff, and that's a blast. I love it. I'm gonna keep doing that stuff too for the rest of my life. But for a whitetail hunter, especially if you're not in the greatest shape, you're that whitetail fit.
Yeah.
Bear hunting's the way to go. Colton and I have been up there with some people in the past that are in good physical condition, and we've been up with some people who are nowhere near it. Yeah, it's just just like whitetail camp a lot of times. Yeah, works out perfect that way.
Yeah, it's an easy one to do, and then it's bear meat's great. So, and yeah, it's not difficult. You just gotta commit. You just gotta do it.
Yep, agreed. And listen, we all like shoulder mounts of deer and stuff on the wall, but something about you walking to a place and they got a bear rug. It's the one animal that we always keep the hide on. All the hunters keep the hide on. They're beautiful. I know my kids love them. My kids wear both Colton and I both shot smaller bears back in 2019, and Remy and River wear the tan around the house and pretend to be bears sometimes. So again, super happy with the hunt. Colton, you have anything you want to close on about the hunt or anything like that?
I just two things. I was going to ask you this: if there's anything you would change on for the next bear hunt, because I have one. I would hunt some in the mornings. Think that, yeah. So like I think going forward on next bear hunts, more than likely we'll be with other outfitter. But yeah, I'm probably gonna do some morning hunts, especially. Yeah, probably from the get go. Yeah, that's my approach. Probably going forward, and I would just say this: like, yeah, I was gonna shoot iron wheels this upcoming season, and I pretty much gotten off that kick, and yeah, I'm gonna shoot the Rex until something shows me otherwise, which I don't have any indication of why that would be. I'm gonna shoot those going forward.
Yep. Yeah, I was kind of, and again, these are kind of who we're working with now. Very happy with the Rick Broadheads. First time us shooting them. It's nice that we were able to go 4-4 on bears. We were all happy how our broadheads performed, and the practice tips that Austin bought seem to be flying great too for practice.
Yeah, they were.
So we are super happy with that. Austin and I were shooting the dominant Strands bowstrings. We're happy how they've been performing. I've been happy with Lewis's quality from the get-go. We've been with them for a year. RackGetters, that is the second time using their bear scents. Colton decided not to taste test any this year.
Yeah, not this time.
Yeah, and again, no complaints. Whether or not those are the ones actually bringing the bear, I don't know, but it's definitely helping. No doubt about that. It's definitely not hurting anything. We all use that with the glazed donut spray, the Oreo spray. And then I understand you weren't crazy about my way I was brewing the coffee, because grinding the coffee, and I know you need a proper taste test in a kitchen is what you prefer. But all in all, what did you think for your first impression of the Hour Grounds?
I mean, it tasted good and it smelled good. Yeah, I just that wasn't the way to make it. That's all. I already have two different ways. I'm like gonna make sure that we have other options.
Yeah,
to make it.
Here's what I screwed up, guys. We should tell this story. Austin and Colton have been giving me crap all week for it. So I told everybody, hey, I got the coffee. Number one, I didn't bring enough coffee. Number two, I should have prepared the beans before ever going there. And there's a couple ways I could have done that. And number three, I should have had a better brewing method. So I thought we'd be fancy. We'd bring whole bean coffee, and I have a little hand grinder that does like single serving essentially. So every morning we have 3 guys fighting over the one grinder.
It takes 10 minutes to grind it.
It takes
per
a couple
person.
minutes to grind it, yes. Plus I have these, I forget the company now. GSI is the company, and they're little pour-over cups. And do they get the job done? Yes, but that's what I would call it. They get the job done. It's not the greatest brewing method. When I French pressed it, when I took the time to actually French press
that was good. That was good. Yeah.
Better. Yes, it tasted better and did better. And I almost brought with me my big French press. I should have brought it. It's metal, so it's sturdy. It's easy. It keeps everything nice and hot. I almost I had it in my hand. I'm just like, we don't need it. Should have brought it. So I should have done one or two things. Number one, we had power at camp. We had a generator and we had my and we had my big battery pack. So we could have
Brought
brought
a coffee pot.
We could have brought a coffee pot. We could have brought a coffee
Yeah.
grinder to grind our beans freshly every morning if we wanted.
Mhm.
Or what I thought, I should have just ground all the coffee at home. I definitely did not expect. Not only it's not like Colton, Austin, and I are just coffee drinkers. Like we wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, and then we're done. All three of us are pretty avid coffee drinkers, and we were going through that coffee very quick. So
Yeah, we were.
Yes, we ran out of the patrol roast, and we had to settle with some Tim Hortons, which it got the job done. It was good.
It was fine. Yeah.
But if you guys are interested in that, that coffee will hopefully be out in August. I'm super happy for it. I'll have some I'm going to send to Colton so he can make some at home properly for him. So, but and back to your question about would I change anything? Honestly, probably not, because the only time I've not killed a bear is when we went to Quebec, and personally, I think we kind of agree that outfitter wasn't the greatest. It was a new operation. I went 4-4 on bears. I'm happy how everything's going so far with it. I will tell you this: I've already priced another outfitter up in Canada.
I already looked at it too.
Yep. So for $150 more, cabins, and you hunt it just like we're hunting now.
Yeah,
probably gonna be the way to go. So hopefully, maybe in the future, you'll see us do another bear hunt. I'll be a bear hunter the rest of my life. I wish I could go every spring, but number one, I don't have the money or time, and my wife would probably kill me. I love bear hunting. If it was something I could do every spring, I would. And it's also like, what else are you gonna hunt this time of year?
Yeah.
Turkey hunting's fun. I'm not saying it's not fun, but it's not bear hunting.
No.
When a turkey comes in and I know I'm about to shoot it, yeah, I get excited, but not the same. When a bear's coming in, I am pumped. I was more jacked up on this, and I knew when this bear came in that I ended up shooting. Give a little details on it. I knew right away, not my biggest bear, not my smallest bear either, but I'm like, good coat, nice bear. I'm going to be super pleased with this bear. Man, I am. In my interview, I am jacked up. I am like hooping and hollering and all that stuff. And, I don't always get that way with deer even anymore. Like I get excited when I shoot a deer, but the last 2 times where I've shot a bear, I'm like 10 out of 10, jacked up, having a good time. So, and I think it's really the fact that it's a predator. And Colton and I have talked about this before. Some people like shooting a bear because of that. Some people don't like shooting a bear because of that.
Right.
And Colton, actually, if you can kind of talk about that, you've kind of flip-flopped how you felt about that. If you kind of want to talk about that difference.
Yeah.
To now.
Well, there's a lot of reasons. Like I was young that first time we went. I was like in 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I killed a big bear, and I didn't see a lot of bears. So like to me, it's like, oh, there's not a lot of bears up here. I just killed this really big bear, and I was like, I don't need to ever go again. There's not a lot of them. Why would I go do that? And then the second time I went, I was like, I'm gonna go just because everybody else is going, and like quickly realized like, oh crap, there's a ton of them up here. And I was seeing them just driving around. I think I saw like around 33 different bears that trip. So they're everywhere. So it just like clicked to me like, oh, these things are like big raccoons, essentially is what they are. And then I learned a lot just like with my profession, just a lot more about wildlife in general. And it's like, oh, there's a ton of up here. They're a problem. In some areas, there's so many of them. So it just flipped to me. And yeah, they look at you different. And I think that's where a lot of people get held up with it. They don't look at you like a deer do. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't get the same, feeling in my stomach and in my heart shooting at a deer that I do as a bear. Like way more excited. You get nervous because there's more bear deaths from black bears every single year than there are grizzly bears. And like I've been close to grizzly bears, and like I don't feel scared looking at a black bear, but like you should respect it because it can kill you. Like if you run to a sow, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I have my little my bow isn't going to do anything. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, same. Just definitely, they're exotic to us though. We don't see them all the time. So you see one, you get excited, get a little nervous. Not like deer. You see deer all the time. It's just different.
Yep, I would agree. And again, I don't know if that's because we don't live around bears or what it is exactly. But yeah, I will. That this will not be my. As long as I don't croak anytime soon, this will not be my last bear hunt.
Agreed. Yeah.
I will definitely bear hunt again. I already know. Today when we're reviewing some of the footage, my daughter's like, "Dad, are you gonna take me to Canada?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm gonna take you bear hunting in Canada one day." So it's a blast. We have
Mhm.
now. We have other than just Colton and I, and obviously Dad and our youngest brother Caleb, but we have some other team members now that have killed bears. Kyle,
Mhm.
Ray, and Austin.
Austin.
Now, I haven't talked to Ray about it, but I know Kyle and Austin have already told me that they definitely want to go again. I think if I made one phone call to Ray, hey, we're going, I think he'd be
I
in.
think you'd go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I would like to do it in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
2 years times. I would like to go back up.
Yep.
Two,
You
two,
hear that?
two springs away.
Yep. You hear that, boys? Boys and girls. We're coming, making a repeat
Mm.
somewhere. Figure it out.
Mm.
But and even when I was out west trying to elk hunt and I saw a bear and had a missed opportunity, um, it was like it was almost like I was familiar with it, but I mean I got jacked right away, and that was a color
Mm.
face. I should have had a color face that trip.
Mm.
But I remember I'm like, oh, I know, I've been in this situation before. I'm ready to go, and I just bear hunting. I love it. I wish I could do it every
Mm.
year, and we'll definitely be back. Anything
Mm.
else, Cole?
No, sir.
All righty. Just stay on a little bit when we end this, but thanks, guys. Again, we had a great time. We'll be doing at least one more podcast regarding the bear hunt. I'm gonna have Austin back on, and maybe a fourth one. See if we get old Papa Rob on, talk about his hunt and all that good stuff. Uh, Had a blast. Hope this will help tide you over before deer season. I know I'm already talking to a couple team members. We're going to start gearing up for deer season. That's almost the worst thing about bear hunting. I'm all geared up to hunt now, and I got to wait
Yeah.
till October. So
Mhm.
we're going to start shooting our bows more. Colton and I've already talked about it as well. You're going to see us some videos and stuff coming from us prepping for deer season. If you're not out there shooting your bow, checking your guns, checking your tree stands, whatever, you need to be out there and start doing it, guys. So
Yeah.
other than that, check out all our sponsors. We can't do it without them. Check out all our footage on the, ThinBlueOutdoors.com, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. And other than that, be safe out there, guys.